Hello everyone, welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're all doing very well and we've got lots to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about a very significant transfer battle that Odion Solskjaer could face this summer. And I think he needs to win it. I do. I think he needs to win this battle and I think United need to win this battle. And it's to do with Chelsea Football Club. Jadon Sancho, Timo Werner, Moussa Dembele, Jude Bellingham, just to name 4, and there could be more. For everything we're trying to do, Chelsea are trying to do as well, and this is a battle that Manchester United must win. We've also got some news on Alexis Sanchez, the midfield dilemma for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the impact of Bruno Fernandes, but let's get into this because there is a story coming out from L'Equipe, the French outlet, today saying that Manchester United are in constant contact with Moussa Dembele and have been for quite some time, but they're waiting for some clarity on Odion Ighalo as to whether they step forward with this. Now this is quite interesting because the reality is that when we talk about Moussa Dembele, if you remember at the end of March, and we already look, the important thing here is that we are starting to approach football return, and I think that's very important in relation to transfers, but also in relation to what we're going to do in the immediate. But obviously, Ighalo will fit into that. But at the end of March, there was a story out there, and it was quite a credible story, that Manchester United had already made a decision that they weren't going to keep Ighalo beyond the end of the season because they were moving forward on a striker, and that deal was pretty close to being sort of finalised at the end of March. Now, we've never known who that was, and even the outlets talking about it have never revealed, or maybe they didn't even know. I think it was more about a story that Manchester United were very close to getting a deal done for a striker, but nobody ever really understood or got to know who that striker was, whether it's still a possibility or whether it's dead in the water now. Now, I said at the time that I felt it was Moussa Dembele because I think it just made sense. He is a striker looking to move. He's the right sort of age. He will be coming to the Premier League. I just felt it was Moussa Dembele. I wouldn't have thought at the end of March it would have been Timo Werner, and I certainly can't think it would have been Cavani or anyone like that. So I think Moussa Dembele was the one who made the most sense. And now here we are, a couple of months later, and this story about Manchester United being in constant contact with Moussa Dembele, but they're a little bit hesitant because they don't know what's happened with Ighalo at the moment. It still all makes sense. Now, the Manchester Evening News, they will say that he's on their consideration list, but there have been no talks. So they'll acknowledge that there's interest in Dembele. They're not saying there's been any talks. Now, that could be coming from the club, but there certainly seems to be enough noise around Moussa Dembele. What there is also noise around Moussa Dembele is Chelsea. Chelsea want a striker. And for every striker we want, whether it's Werner, Moussa Dembele, Cavani, whoever the striker is we're looking at, that striker conceivably could be looking to go to Chelsea as well. And Chelsea, Moussa Dembele makes a lot of sense. So we could be, I think we focus on Werner and Liverpool, and we focus on Sancho and whether he stays, whether he goes. But are we really giving enough credit or respect to Chelsea, a club that sold Hazard last summer, that had a transfer ban, that has always had money, couldn't spend last summer, didn't spend in January, and will be looking to spend this summer, who need a striker, who want another winger, they basically and want a midfielder. They basically want the same players as us. Bellingham, Moussa Dembele, Timo Werner, Jadon Sancho. We want all those. We're linked to all of those. They would quite like them. And let's not forget, they may well enter the Jack Grealish market as well. So it's not just Liverpool, it's not just clubs staying where they are. There's also a potential battle. And I think for every player that we get, you could say, well, Chelsea are looking at that as well. So, look, do I want Moussa Dembele to come to Manchester United? I probably want Timo Werner, but I've got to be honest with you, and what I really wanted to talk about tonight as well, amongst other things, is with rumours that Ighalo would be willing to forfeit a lot of money to stay long term at Manchester United. Is that what you want? Do you want Odion Ighalo to stay at Manchester United long term? Because for me, and I'm making this decision here right now with 9 games to go, and I've not even seen him play 9 games for United. If I've got to make a decision right here, right now, my decision is no. He can stay for the 9 games, and I desperately want him to do that. And I really like the player, but I do not want him to be here long term if we could get a Moussa Dembele or a Timo Werner. Because to me, that is a long term signing. To me, Moussa Dembele, to be honest with you, he has done really well at this club, but he's been playing in China for a number of years. He's an ex-Watford player. He's a good backup striker, but I want something a little bit better. And I want something a little bit, more economical. And I don't want, at this point, Ighalo here next season. I do want a Moussa Dembele. I do want a Timo Werner. I do want a striker that's got some longevity, that's going to genuinely battle for our starting spots. And Josh King, Odion Ighalo, Rondon, or any other of these players, they're just not the level that I think that a Liverpool or a Man City would be looking at, and that's what I want. That's what I want. I want the elite. I want Manchester United back on the top of world football. I don't think you do that with Ighalo and Josh King. But that's just my opinion. He's a very popular lad. I really like Ighalo. I want him to come back for those final 9 games, and I want him to score a load of goals for us. But long term, I just don't want him. I don't want him to stay at this moment in time. If he comes back and scores 10 goals in 9 games, I might go, whoo. You can't get rid of him, and you can't. But at this moment in time, people such as Moussa Dembele and Timo Werner, I think, are where Manchester United should be looking at. And I do think that Chelsea are a threat, and I do think it's a battle that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to win, because you can't lose to your rivals. He's done very well at beating Chelsea on the football pitch, but you can't lose to your rivals, and you can't lose to your rivals at. I know he said trifles. I'd love a trifle. You can't lose to your rivals off the pitch as well. Now, it's understandable if Werner says he wants to go to Liverpool and we want him and he goes to Liverpool. I had somebody messaging to me today, actually, and they said, and I'd like to know your opinions on this as well. Where do you sit on this? I was asked today, I'm not going to say the name because they might not want me to, but it was a direct message I got on Twitter. And they said, why do you want Werner, Mark? He clearly wants to go to Liverpool. I don't want that sort of player that's only coming to us because Liverpool don't want him. And I went to myself. I thought, you know what? That's a really good point, and it's probably where I was as a United fan 5 years ago, but it's not where I am now. 5 years ago, I think I was an arrogant United fan. I think I was like, I don't want a player if they want to play for Liverpool. I don't want that. But we have fallen so far that I think that at this point, Liverpool are way ahead of us. They're a better team. They're a better run club. They've got better players. They've got a better manager. And if they want a player, it's probably not a bad player. And look, John Terry's a Man United fan. I would never want him to play for Manchester United. We've had players. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer apparently was a Liverpool fan when he was a kid, or when he was younger. So these things don't matter to me anymore. Maybe when you're riding high, you can afford to be arrogant. When you're not riding high, you need to get better. And to me, Timo Werner makes us better. So look, I'm not going to stand at the side of a race for Timo Werner and say I'm not running that race because he might want to go to Liverpool. I'm going to run that race. And if he wants to come to us, I think it's a race that we've won well. So I don't agree with that, but I think a lot of people would. I would take Werner at United, and I think it's a race that we need to be in. But if you lose that race to Liverpool, they're higher than us. They're the champions of England. They're going to be the champions of England. They are the champions of Europe. They're a better team than us. If he chooses them over us, as I said before, it's not very nice, but you're better to be in a race for a player like that, and if he chooses them, you can understand why he does it. But if Dembele chose Chelsea over us, or Sancho chose Chelsea over us, then that's a reflection of where we are. I don't want to lose a battle to Liverpool. I definitely don't want to lose a battle to Chelsea. Ollie's beaten Lampard 3 times this season. The race for top 4, we can finish above them. We should not be losing transfer battles to Chelsea. We have in the past. We shouldn't be losing anymore. We've got the money. We should have the Champions League football, and we've beaten them this season, and we're building something. So I think if we are going head-to-head with Chelsea on any player, then we should be getting Sancho, we should be getting Bellingham, and we should be getting a Dembele or a Werner. And it's going to be very interesting because I think Chelsea will be in that race, and I think we've got to be very wary of that. Do you think if City became interested in Sancho, he might consider it? If Sane leaves, they would need a replacement? I hope not, but I'm just thinking out loud, says Angelo Jarems. Well, you're thinking out bloody loud because thousands of people can hear you now. But no, I mean, look, you're not the only one to have said that. A few people have said it. And Grealish is interesting, King Mello, as well. Chelsea could enter that race. Of course, if Chelsea signed Moussa Dembele, I must just say it doesn't mean we were necessarily in for him. But I think there's a couple of players that we know we're in for, Sancho and Bellingham. And if they ended up at Chelsea, that would be a battle that we shouldn't have lost. But Man City and Jadon Sancho, look, let's pretend Man City enter the race for Jadon Sancho, and Jadon Sancho quite fancies a move to Man City. We've lost. They've got a first refusal, which is basically if Dortmund get a bid accepted, Man City have a right to match it and speak to Sancho. But if Sancho chose City over us, well, unfortunately it's the Liverpool argument again. If Man City go in for a player and they pick Man City over us, it hurts, and it really should hurt because it never should have happened in the first place. We never should have allowed Liverpool and Man City to be ahead of us, and that's on the club. And that's on the owners, and that's on Woodward, and that's on all the previous managers and all the players. They've done that, not the fans. The fans would never relinquish where we were over the last 3 decades for where we are now with Liverpool and Man City. And some people can say, well, it's the circle of football or whatever. Nonsense. When you're sat in that throne, don't stand up and let someone take the seat. And we did. We did. We got off the throne for a little walk and we never came back. And that's what happened. And the club, the owners, Woodward, the managers, the players, they're all responsible for that because the fans would never have let that happen. But where we are now, we're not on the throne. And if a player is, if United are fighting Man City for a player, there's every chance that that player could, quite logically, pick Man City over us. In fairness, Alexis Sanchez should have picked Man City over us. They were going to win the league, they were playing better football with a better manager, and he chose crappy football under Mourinho for money. And we enjoyed it at the time, and I rejoiced about it at the time. But you know what? He picked us for money. That's why he picked us. And that is not the right reason that United should be being picked. And we've paid the price for that big time. Not just with Sanchez, but with a few others as well. Di Maria comes to mind. So if Sancho did want to go to Man City and Man City wanted Sancho, we'll probably lose. Better manager, better style of football, better squad, better status at the moment. But Sancho doesn't want to go back to Man City. This is pretty common knowledge that he doesn't want to go back to Man City. He wants to go somewhere in England that's, that he wants to go. And that could be Chelsea, it could be Man United, maybe it could be Liverpool if they entered that race. So I don't think it will be Man City, but if they did, then, it would be a concern. Yazza Said says, let's be real. If Werner doesn't want to come, then great. We want players that are here because they want to. I don't want a Di Maria situation. Yeah, and I think with Timo Werner, he's not Di Maria. And I think with Jadon Sancho, he's not Di Maria. These are players, young players, ready to take a step up. And wherever they decide to go, that's their choice. And like you say, if it's not United, it's not United. At the end of the day, if they choose not to come, they choose not to come. Dybala did it last year. I don't really want him here now. But that's just the way it is. Why aren't we considering Asensio from Real Madrid, says Adano? Because I just don't think you can deal with them. Don't trust Anthony Martial staying fit. Every injury equals 6 weeks equals 8 games, says Odion Ighalo. I think this is going to be very interesting, actually. We tweeted this out today. The FA Cup dates have been announced. The quarterfinals will be played on the 27th and the 28th of June, which is a weekend. The semi-final will be on the 11th and the 12th of July, and then the final will be on the 1st of August. We've got 9 Premier League games we've got to play between the 19th of June and the end of July. That's 9 games in about 6 weeks. If we get to the FA Cup final, that's another 3 games, quarter-final, semi-final, final. That's 12 games in 6 weeks. We'll be playing a game of football every 4 days for 6 weeks. On one sense, back of the net, summer of football, absolutely brilliant after not having it for 3 months. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to have football every day. United are going to be playing so regularly. It's just going to be amazing. We're going to have 6 weeks of it and it's going to be brilliant if it happens. On the other hand, these players haven't played for 3 months. You're suddenly going to get them playing a competitive game every 4 days for 6 weeks. There's going to be loads of injuries. There's going to be injuries. And the bad thing is, if you pick up a hamstring injury or a calf strain, you could miss the rest of the season because it's all going to be over in 6 weeks. So that is why it's so important that Manchester United keep Ighalo. And I think that's why United have said, well, we've got Greenwood. But if you pick up a couple of injuries, you are really going to go shallow. And United's depth is still quite shallow. I think the midfield's all right. And if you talk about the midfield for a moment, Ollie's got a bit of a midfield dilemma because he's got Pogba fit, McTominay fit, Fred fit, Matic fit, Bruno fit, 5 players for 3 positions. But over the course of those 6 weeks, I think we'll use all 3 of those. The front 3, you've got Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, James. 4 players for 3 positions before you've got to start playing people like Chong, like Pereira, like Lingard, like Mata. So we are a little bit light up front, and that's why Odion Ighalo is really important. T-Rex Go Get It says swap Sanchez for Ighalo. Yeah, we'd all love to do that. Jesse Reyes says, if you could choose one of these 4 strikers, who would you choose and why? Well, you can all do this. We like these sorts of questions, Jesse. Give Jesse a big W on this one. So you've got to choose one of these 4 and why. Get in the live comments with this. So, Werner, Jimenez, Dembele, Latoro. Get in the live comments. Who would you choose? Werner, Jimenez, Latoro, or Dembele? Let us know. Trent Singh says, worst case scenario, we don't get Sancho or Werner, end up signing our second or third choice options. Where will we finish next season, in your opinion? Look, Trent, I can't look at second options after Jadon Sancho because they're a massive drop-off. I can't look at third options after Werner's and Dembele's because it will be Josh King. And I'll tell you what, if you've got Werner or Josh King, that's the difference between fighting for a title in 2 years or fighting fourth like we have done for the last 6 years. So we've got to get our priority signings. I think we did quite well last summer. We've got to keep doing it. If you weren't to get Sancho, would you take the deal Madrid offered of Odegaard, Asensio, Brahim Diaz and James Rodriguez for Pogba? I think we should. Well, it wasn't Asensio. Swap Asensio out for Valverde. It wasn't Asensio, was it? So I wouldn't do that deal, Ollie. But if Asensio was in it, it changes it quite differently. Vast majority of the live comments are going Werner, although Sean Williams says Lautaro Martinez, put some respect on him. He's lit, fam. I mean, Lautaro Martinez is actually, it's to me, out of Dembele, Raul Jimenez, Werner and Lautaro Martinez, it would be Werner or Lautaro Martinez. I think Jimenez is a good signing, but his age is a bit of a problem. I think Moussa Dembele is a good signing, but I'm not convinced that Moussa Dembele is any better than a Lacazette. And you look at what Lacazette's done in the Premier League, he's hardly first team striker for Arsenal banging in 30 goals a season. So I'd worry about whether Moussa Dembele could take the weight of goals that we would need. I think with Werner and Lautaro Martinez, you're talking about two players there that really do have the potential to be top 5 strikers in the world for the next 5 years, maybe 10 years. Lautaro Martinez is wanted by Barcelona for a reason, and Timo Werner is a top quality player. So it would be one of those two for me. I think I would go for Werner. I think Lautaro Martinez worries me a little bit because he's coming from Serie A. I just wonder, there's a bit of a doubt. I think Werner, he's clearly got the attributes to hit the ground running. I think he's less of a risk, if I'm honest with you. Got a little stone that Sebi gave me, actually. I've got to give him back after that. Why would we not go for Aubameyang, says Ashatush. I like Aubameyang. And I wish we'd bought Aubameyang from Dortmund. I think he's the perfect striker for United at one point. He's quick, he's quite tall, he's good with the ball at his feet. I think he can run onto the ball over the top. I think he can hold it up. I think it surprises me that Aubameyang gets played off the left a lot by Arsenal because I think he's the perfect down-the-middle striker. I would love Aubameyang to come back to Manchester United and I would take him tomorrow. But I think, are we not tired of taking Arsenal strikers? And also, one worked really well, Van Persie. One worked really bad, Sanchez. Are we willing to take another risk? And also, he's 30. Is he 30? So there's no long-termism. I mean, if you're asking me whether I want Aubameyang or Moussa Dembele, I think there's a conversation to be had, and some would go one and one way with the other. If I want Aubameyang or Werner, it's Werner. If I want Aubameyang or Lautaro Martinez, it's Martinez. But Aubameyang, I think if you were ranking what strikers you want, I would go Werner first. I would probably then go. I probably would take Moussa Dembele ahead of Aubameyang, I think, and then I'd go Raul Jimenez. I don't think Lautaro Martinez is real, and Josh King, and that would be just nowhere near. Who would be the worst player to get injured? Says Sean from Ireland. I think at this moment in time, I wouldn't want to lose Martial. Please do smash a like on the video if you're watching, by the way. Let's see how many we can get smashing a like on the video. I wouldn't want Martial to get injured. I don't want Rashford and Pogba to get injured, but we've done quite well without Pogba and Rashford the last few months. So I think because we've been without them, I can't really say, I don't want them to get injured. I don't want them to get injured, but we were doing quite well without them. So it's not their fault, but I'm not going to say that. I think for me, I don't want Bruno to get injured. I think he's the number one. And a lot of people in the live comments are saying that. A few people are saying Maguire. A few people are saying Rashford. But we've been doing it without Rashford. And I think Rashford's going to make us a great player. And I think after 3 or 4 games back, I'd be saying, bloody hell, we can't lose Rashford. But we've lost Rashford for the last few games. So Bruno, Martial, I wouldn't want to lose either of those two players. And I actually think Matic is quite important. I never would have said that. I think Matic is important at the moment. I think Luke Shaw's very important. I think Fred's very important. Wan-Bissaka's very important. But I think if you look at the difference between the team from before we had him to now, Bruno Fernandes is that player. In the 8 games that Bruno Fernandes has played, I saw this on the United Report Twitter account. In the 8 games Bruno Fernandes has played, we scored 21 goals in 8 games. 21 goals in 8 games with Bruno. In the 8 games before that without him, we scored 13. That is nearly 100% increase in goals. It's not far off. We've scored 8 more goals with Bruno in 8 games than we did in the 8 games without him. So we're averaging a goal more a game. Well, that's why we're getting more points. So he's a massively important player in the way that we've improved. So it would be Bruno for me. A little bit of positive news for you. Alexis Sanchez is going to complete the season at Inter Milan, and he will be given the opportunity to show what he's all about. This has come from Inter Milan, and this is partly down to Inter Milan because they could have sent him back. But I think it's more about Manchester United. I do. If Manchester United wanted Alexis Sanchez back, much the same as Shanghai with Ighalo, they could say, "You're coming back." We could have got Sanchez back. And imagine a scenario where he'd been on loan at Inter Milan for a year and he'd been brilliant and he'd said, "I want to come back to United at some point." We could have brought him back. Excuse me. If Sanchez had been doing really well, we could have brought Sanchez back and played him against Spurs in the last few games of the season. So Inter Milan keeping Sanchez is part of the puzzle because we need them to want to keep him. But I think the biggest part of the puzzle is that Manchester United have said, "We'll keep paying half his wages, keep him." And I think that's good for the future because that's just showing United do not want Alexis Sanchez at the club. They don't want him back at a pivotal point at the season, potentially causing issues. So we are happy to keep paying his wages longer than we thought we would because we thought he'd be back by now because the season would be over. We're happy to keep paying his wages and not have him near the club at a pivotal point of the season in the hope that he'll play well and get out. And that's to me is positive news. We don't want him back. I hope he scores loads of goals in Inter. And I hope they keep him. And I hope they pay to keep him because that's the best thing for United. So I'm very happy that he's going to end up staying there. Anabav Parahaj says, why United don't scout in South America? They can get the next Ronaldo, Neymar, Ronaldinho for a very small amount of money. We've never been good at it, Anabav. We've never been that good at it. I mean, we got the De Silva twins, didn't we? And I think we sold Rafael way too soon. Don't start me on that. But we've never been great at scouting any players outside of Britain, to be fair. We buy players that well, no, that's not true. I mean, obviously, there's plenty of examples of young players that we brought in. I mean, Ronaldo was a good signing from the Sporting Lisbon setup, and effectively, you're not going to go down onto the Rio Beach and buy an 8-year-old, are you? And bring him back, and he's the next Ronaldo. There will be attached to some Brazilian club for you to do that. So that's only the same as what we've done with Sporting Lisbon a few times. But we don't seem to do it from South America, and I don't know why. And Afonso Davies was a player from North America that we apparently scouted, remember, as well. Will Ollie rest people for FA Cup quarter-final, says Joseph Hudson. Look, first step is to get the football back. The plans are in place. We're as close as we can be. We've got to watch the infection rate and we've got to watch the death rate in the UK, because if that goes up, it will get cancelled. Because more players will start getting it. We need the infection rate to come down so that players don't get this virus, because one player gets it and it sort of causes a problem. So these things need to happen. But if we get football back, we will be making 5 substitutes. And on top of that, you will see a lot of players being rested. Because you can all say, well, we're playing Spurs and then we're playing whoever, Bournemouth, and then we're playing Norwich in the Cup. We need to play our best team, and then we're playing a league game 4 days after that. The reality is you're going to be playing important games every 4 days for 6 weeks. We wouldn't have done it in a normal season, but this isn't a normal season. Ollie would like to be playing his best team in every single game because every point and every cup game will be important. But you're going to have to risk it in some. But we're not going to be in a unique boat. Everyone's going to be in the same boat with us. So if we play Spurs with our best team and then we play our next game with the best team, and on the third game we want to rest 3 or 4 players, that team that we're playing might be resting 3 or 4 players as well. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a massive challenge for Solskjaer in the way that we play. It's going to be a massive challenge for Solskjaer in the way that we play. It's going to be a massive challenge that he wouldn't normally have in relation to how he picks the team. And it's going to be a massive challenge in relation to how he manages the squad to prevent injuries and manage fatigue. So I'm very interested. I'm very excited about it. Mark, what's your starting lineup for the Spurs game, says Per Eric Klassen? Well, to be honest with you, that's going to be a show in itself because we'll be doing a preview. I can't wait to be doing the preview in a couple of weeks. But if you're asking me at the moment, and this will change, my starting team for the Spurs game would be De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka right back, Maguire and Lindelof centre backs, with Luke Shaw at left back, flat back 4, Matic holding the midfield. I would then play Fred and Bruno, and then I would play Rashford, Martial and Dan James, and I would start with Pogba and McTominay on the bench. It's hard, it's really hard, but I don't think you can drop Matic. I can't see how you can drop Fred and you can't drop Bruno. And McTominay and Pogba may well be better than those players, but when we talk about squad rotation and fatigue and fitness and everything, I think Matic and Fred deserve a chance to hold on to their spots. And I think McTominay and Pogba are brilliant, and I think they probably will take those places, and Ollie may even start them. But I think if you're going to be loyal to the players this season that deserve the loyalty, Matic came in and made a difference, and Fred's done it all season. They can't be dropped to bring back Pogba or stick McTominay in the team. So that's what I would do. And Bruno's got to play. But these are the decisions that we want to see made. Trent Singh, I would love Lautaro Martinez. He's the next big South American star. He's in the Tevez, Suarez, Aguero mould. Imagine him with Martial and Rashford. And now we are playing thick and fast. This plays perfectly in our hands with Gomez negotiations because he'll be playing quite a bit with so many games. Well, I don't know that Gomez will be Sean Turner. He's got to sign the contract first. If he doesn't sign the contract, he'll be gone. Who would you replace Lingard and Andreas with? Says Jay Kumar. Ideally, I would like Pogba to stay. So we'd have Bruno as well. Gomez would stay and I'd sign Grealish. And we'd sell Pereira and Lingard. That's what I would like to see happen, but I'm not so sure that it would. Look, thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. We were a little bit early with the show tonight. 7:30 show, as you know. Thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video, and if you have come to the show a little bit late, I apologise for that, but I had to do it a little bit early tonight because I've got a few things i've got to go and do. But if you fancy a little bit more of Goldbridge, check out Goldbridge Cooks Chili. Just search it on YouTube, you'll find it. That's a good 20 minutes to take you to 8:20. But thanks everyone for watching. Have a good Friday night. I'll see you in the morning as usual. It's a live transfer show on a Saturday morning, normally about 10:30. I'll see you for that. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Smash a like on the video. We've come out of a positive week. Football looks like it's coming back. Imagine it. We could play 12 games in 6 weeks, a summer of football, and it will be here on the United Stand as well with watch-alongs, preview, match reactions, fan cams. We've got it all, and it's on the United Stand, your channel. Smash a like, subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.